Submarines are the ultimate predators of the ocean. Once they slip beneath the waves, they become practically invisible to surface radar and satellites, turning the immense volume of the sea into the perfect hiding place. Looking at this cross-section of a traditional diesel-electric submarine, we can see its fatal engineering flaw. To spin its immense propellers and generate electricity, the submarine relies on diesel engines. But to burn that fuel, the engines require atmospheric oxygen. Deep underwater, there is no air. Because of this biological need to breathe, these conventional submarines can only run quietly on battery power for about 2 days at a time. After that, they have to replenish their oxygen by either breaching the surface completely or by extending a snorkel pipe above the waves to suck in air and vent their exhaust. Decades ago, this routine was a manageable risk. Today, it is highly dangerous. Modern maritime patrol aircraft and high-resolution satellites constantly sweep the oceans. If a submarine exposes its snorkel or vents hot exhaust every 48 hours, enemy surveillance will immediately flag its position. This vulnerability is a major tactical concern for the Indian Navy, especially when looking across the geopolitical board at China. India relies heavily on older, conventional submarines, while China operates a massive, multi-layered naval fleet specifically built to exploit and track these exact surface targets. In a modern naval conflict against a technologically advanced adversary, a submarine forced to expose itself for oxygen loses its only real defense. If it can be seen, it can be destroyed. To counter this vulnerability, India is aggressively retrofitting its older submarine fleet with Air-Independent Propulsion, or AIP. This technology completely bypasses the need to draw oxygen from the surface. This diagram shows how India's Defense Research and Development Organization designed their specific system. It uses a fuel cell, taking hydrogen and oxygen already stored safely inside the submarine and chemically combines them. This silent reaction generates enough electricity to charge the submarine's massive battery banks underwater. The tactical advantage is enormous. Instead of risking detection every 2 days, an AIP-equipped submarine can remain completely submerged, silent, and hidden for up to 15 continuous days. Above AIP, there is one final tier of stealth: nuclear-powered submarines. Because nuclear reactors require 0 atmospheric oxygen and carry years' worth of fuel, these vessels are restricted only by the amount of food they carry for their crew. They can remain entirely submerged for months. These nuclear vessels fall into 2 main categories. Attack submarines actively hunt down enemy ships with torpedoes. Missile submarines, on the other hand, sit quietly at the bottom of the ocean, designed strictly to launch a retaliatory nuclear strike if their home country is attacked. Upgrading the fleet with AIP and nuclear technology buys the Indian Navy vital time to hide. But surviving a naval war is a 2-part equation. Staying hidden is only half the battle. A navy must also master the mechanics of actively hunting the enemy. While China possesses a numerically larger submarine fleet, India holds a highly refined tactical advantage in anti-submarine warfare, the complex discipline of tracking and destroying hidden enemy vessels. The primary hunters in this space are not actually ships, but aircraft. High above the water, India deploys advanced naval helicopters and the P-8I Poseidon, a heavily modified maritime patrol aircraft packed with specialized ocean scanning equipment. As this map illustrates, when these aircraft suspect a submarine is below, they drop small cylindrical devices called sonobuoys. These sink beneath the surface and emit acoustic pings, creating an overlapping acoustic net. They listen carefully for the faint, distinct echoes of a metal hull moving through the deep water. The moment that acoustic grid registers a solid contact, the command center broadcasts the exact coordinates. The operation instantly shifts from a quiet search to a lethal coordinated attack. If an enemy submarine is detected directly beneath an Indian Navy ship, standard torpedoes might not arm properly at such close range. Instead, crews must rely on a brutal, older weapon, the depth charge. A depth charge does not require a precision hit. Sailors simply dump clusters of them into the water surrounding the target's estimated location. These barrels sink hundreds of feet before detonating. When high explosives ignite deep underwater, the dense water resists the blast. This resistance creates an immense concussive shockwave that violently expands outward, adding a massive spike in force to the ocean's crushing pressure. When that pressure wave slams into the submarine, it buckles the metal hull. Once the hull loses its structural integrity, the surrounding ocean instantly crushes the vessel inward. The submarine is destroyed in a fraction of a second via implosion. The most advanced stealth technology and acoustic dampening in the world offers zero protection once the ocean itself is weaponized against the hull. But physical combat isn't the only time a submarine faces danger. Eventually, even the stealthiest nuclear or AIP submarines exhaust their food supply and torpedo stockpiles. They must return to port. Navigating an exposed submarine into a traditional open-air naval dock is highly dangerous. The moment a vessel breaches the surface in port, satellites map its exact location, stripping away its secrecy and leaving it exposed to a preemptive strike. To solve this logistical nightmare, navies are carving massive, heavily fortified submarine pens directly into the bedrock of coastal mountains. This allows submarines to safely slip in from deep water and resupply entirely hidden from the sky. China has heavily invested in this infrastructure. The heavily militarized Yulin Naval Base, located in the Hainan province, features massive subterranean caverns where the Chinese fleet can dock and reload under the safety of solid rock. Recognizing this strategic gap, India is rushing to complete its own top-secret countermeasure. Codenamed Project Varsha, the Indian Navy is constructing a massive underground submarine base near Rambili, ensuring its fleet has a secure, invisible location to return to. India may not possess the sheer number of submarines that China does, but by adopting air-independent propulsion, deploying lethal anti-submarine tactics, and building deep subterranean fortresses, the Indian Navy is proving that survival in the ocean relies entirely on mastering the brutal physics of hiding and hunting.